Okay, this is my review of the Qiaodan Wind 4. So I bought this shoe off AliExpress. It is the 5th in the series that I am doing on brands from the East, or from China mainly. Qiaodan, I think I am pronouncing that somewhat close, but I might be completely wrong, so my apologies to anyone if I'm saying it incorrectly. It is Qiaodan. I of course will have it in the description. Interesting enough, that means Jordan in Chinese. It is actually named after Michael Jordan. I don't know if you can see it. So they have his logo on their equipment, and it became a lawsuit in China. If I can find the story, I'll link it in the description, but you can look it up too. It's interesting. They're just huge fans of Michael Jordan and use it in their name, use his logo, and while he respected it, he also went and protected his licensing. Anyway, some things about Qiaodan. It was founded in 2000. It's a major Chinese manufacturer of sportswear, shoes, equipment. It operates around 6,000 retail stores across China, and it is widely known for a long-running legal battle with Michael Jordan. But they did work that out. They produce a wide range of athletic items, including basketball shoes, running gear, apparel, accessories. They're, of course, mainly targeting the Chinese domestic market, but they are now expanding through AliExpress out to the US and Taobao, if you've heard of that. I haven't tried Taobao yet because it could be dangerous for me. They're known to collaborate with basketball players to get their name out. I guess they worked with Calvin Johnson as one example. It has established a significant presence in China. I guess they have the PEBA, and they have some daily trainers that are pretty well known out in that direction of geography. The Wind series had a lot of shoes and variations of shoes out, but the Wind 4 and the Wind 4 Pro were newly released when I started this review series, so I went ahead and hit those just so I would have newer releases. That now that the Chinese shoes are getting some exposure, it might be fitting to people looking for shoes. It might help them. So that was my kind of determining factor on going with these. So that's a little bit about the brand. I do also have the Pro. I'm getting miles in that right now. So look for the review on the Pro version of this shoe coming up probably in a few weeks maybe. So next up, I will get into the details of the shoe and usage cases, and then get into the review. Okay, so as in the other shoes in this series, these shoes were sponsored between Reviews and myself. These are not brand sponsored, so they were not sent to us for review. We purchased this within funds between Reviews and myself, just to kind of highlight some value proposition shoes that might be available from the Eastern market. For us runners who like to buy multiple pairs of shoes or just are budget conscious, just to give us some options from what they offer. So first up, the weight, and again, a lot of these specs are guesses from ChatGPT and information from other YouTube reviewers or reviews I could find online, and I'm making my best guess between that and what I have in hand. I did get some information from a reviewer called Hui, H-U-I. He is actually out of China. He does a really good job on his reviews. If you get a chance, go support his YouTube channel. Actually, if you also get a chance, give me a like and subscribe myself, because I could use the support. I'm not getting any money from YouTube for this, so anything you can do to help out the channel, appreciate it. So my size 12s came in weighing the left 9.9 ounces, the right 9.6 ounces. So if I extrapolated, it's a sample size of 9 would be right around 8.4 ounces, if that helps you. So it's a light shoe. I would definitely consider this a lightweight trainer. The heel stack, the stats I've found said it's around 34 millimeter heel, but normally those measurements are not including the outsole thickness or the insole thickness. So I'm guessing this is between 38 and 40. I have read online this is a 10 millimeter drop, but it didn't feel like a 10 millimeter drop to me. It felt like between a 6 and 8. So if it is a 10 millimeter, the real feel underfoot is between 6 and 8. This was to me. I did not feel that 10 millimeter drop because I tend to be sensitive to that. So if it does have that drop in there, then they've done a great job with the geometry in the foam to make it nice roll through and soften that back end of it. The upper is a TPEE TPU woven mesh. It is very breathable. You can see my fingers right through it. It's just it's a mesh and very breathable through there. The outsole is a Q-ASU CPU rubber. I have no idea what the first part means, but it is a CPU rubber, which seems to be fairly common on the Chinese shoes. The midsole is a full beaded PEBA foam with a plastic plate. You can see it runs from here to here, and you can also see it in the open windows on the outsole. Let's see. Oh, and I'll get into the midsole section. So I bought this shoe for right around 111 on AliExpress. I have seen it between 100 and 115 at different times. I think I just looked at it today, which is April 16th. And I found it for, I think it was 102. And I have some coupons and stuff that I can get less for that. I actually bought the Pro for 90, so it's interesting that I got the higher end shoe for less. Right now it's actually running $15 more, so you'll get used to seeing that on AliExpress if you start shopping there. Use cases, I put in 51 miles overall of running and around another 2 to 3 miles of walking. Since it has a plate, I don't do a whole lot of walking in plated shoes, but I did want to just get used to some walking in it just to see how it felt. Since it's not a carbon fiber, and honestly, I'll get into the midsole. The midsole had a very nice underfoot feel, so I just wanted to do some walking. I did tempo, steady pace, varying speeds, and I did a long run of 15 miles. I ran on concrete tarmac track, dirt and dry conditions, and the treadmill. It was that blizzard I was in on the last shoe I reviewed, and I ran on concrete and wet conditions. I walked on office floors and parking lots. I really love the CPU type of outsoles for running, but the only problem is on office floors, especially with linoleum. They clean, it gets squeaky. But other than that, for its actual purpose of running, it does great. So next up, I will get. Okay, so you can see, looking at the laces here, they look like a fairly standard lace, but they are not. It's a unique style. So these are pretty thin. They're almost silky to the touch, and then once you get up to the eyelet, so the part of the lace that comes out, you get this beaded weaved type of pattern. And of course that's to help when you tie it, it locks it in more. It's an interesting design. I understand what they were going for, but the laces themselves are very thin. So they're not a strong lace. So that offered up some problems in conjunction with some other things on the shoe, which I'll get into here in a moment. The tongue, it's just a very thin tongue. You can see, very thin. It is fully gusseted though. But so I guess the upper, with it being that TPU TPE mix, and you can probably see, you can see it here. If you have a lower volume foot, which I tend to have a lower volume foot in most shoes, because of this material, it doesn't stretch in and out. It bunches because it has no give to it. It doesn't flex. It kind of is what it is. So trying to lace this up and get a good heel lock. So I'll get into the heel a little bit. I love the collar. This is exactly the way I like my collar. It has a nice seat, so your heel backs into it. You can kind of see how it humps out to here. So the setup all seems right, but this is messy. So I would try to actually loosen this lower part and then tighten this part, because this was bunching up so much it was kind of odd. But I had to tighten this, because if I didn't tighten this, I was getting some heel slippage, especially in my right foot. That is my shorter foot out of the two. And because this lace is so thin, it was hard to get a good lockdown on it. I didn't want to pull hard on it. It's just, to me, the upper is messy. Like one thing kind of leads to another, and when you fix one, it throws something else off. So I'm hoping on the next version of this shoe, they work on this upper, because I think this whole area has opportunity for improvement. Now I'll say, once I got it on, or once I got it locked in, it stayed good. It felt fine on the run. It was just getting it to that point was a little tricky and cumbersome, but once it was there, it was solid. But again, you can see the bunch up. Not a fan of that, but I did have plenty of room in the toe, both width wise, but also height wise. I could flex this way, but I also didn't move around, so it was the right room. Just maybe they should look for a different material. Anything else? The fit, I would call the fit true to size. I had the right amount of space up here. It was good lockdown here. I had slippage here until I got this figured out. So once I would get this locked down, then this would lock in. And I wasn't really getting slippage. I don't know how to put it. It wasn't flopping in and out. It just didn't feel locked in. I don't know if that makes sense, but I just didn't feel like the foot was in the shoe completely. It felt like it was going to slip, but it never actually slipped. But I always had that kind of feeling until I could get this figured out on the run. So normally what would happen is I think I would get this locked in for about the first mile. Things would loosen up a little bit, and I would have to stop and just retie it, and then it would stay good for the rest of the run. So I don't know if that's because of the material. Maybe it would loosen up a little bit. I don't know what was going on. I just know I hope they improve the upper. And I will link, if you're looking at buying a shoe, I'll link that helpful link to how you measure your foot to order Eastern brands. I think it also applies to European sizing. But okay, so next up is the outsole. So I am starting to get used to the CPU outsoles on the Chinese brands. For the most part, I am a fan because they're lighter than some of the rubbers that we're used to on the Western brands. They work more organically underfoot when you're running. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's just they don't. The rubbers that we're used to on the Western brands tend to act as a deadening agent. They kind of act against the underfoot feel of the foam. These seem to work with them. They're softer underfoot, but they still tend to have more durability. Now, on that note, I am actually noticing some pretty quick wear at 51 miles on my high wear spot on the left foot. I'm noticing a little bit on the right, not near as bad, but nowhere else. Everywhere else, the wear is fantastic. Maybe just a little bit on the front foot pad, but the rest of it is wearing great. Now, I will say, I don't know, I won't put all of the blame on the material. So one of the things I've started noticing in videos of me running when I'm loading them up and I have the sound on is on some shoes on my through cycle. So when my foot is coming through before I actually land, I can get a rub here. So it's not when I'm landing, it's actually, you know, boom, ship, boom, like it. I somehow just rub this sometimes. I can hear it. So, and this is just contemplation. What I think might be happening on some of my shoes is the wear isn't all from the landing, but it's abrasive because I'm scraping the ground. So I'm actually rubbing it. It's got more friction. So whereas this area is all on, up, on, up, on, up, this one is, and I'm just wondering if that might be part of the reason why I have a quicker wear on some of these areas. I mean, it makes sense mentally to me. I don't notice it on every shoe, so I am wondering if there's some geometries that cause me to do it more than others. I know I do it more when my legs are tired because I lose my mechanics, but even when my legs are fresh, I've noticed on some shoes now on the videos when I turn it up, I can actually hear it clicking through as I'm running around. So I don't think this is as good as the outsole on, say, the Anta C2027. That outsole is a monster. I don't think it's quite as good as the outsole on the X-Step 2000 KM version 5, but it's still a good outsole. I'll put it this way, it's not going to wear out as fast as my Ultras do. This is still going to go longer than Ultras. It just probably won't be, especially for me, a high wear outsole. So if you're somebody who doesn't have that problem of, you know, hot spots on the outsoles just wearing out quickly, I would not be concerned with this outsole. It's going to take care of you. If you're somebody that maybe has a similar situation that I do, I would maybe just, you know, take that in consideration when you're looking at the shoe. Of course, the other thing to take in consideration is the shoe right now is $100, and I'm not paying $150 to $180. This would probably be around $170 on the Western U.S. market. So you are saving money, so you might be a little bit more agreeable to losing the shoes outsole quicker, but that's an individual determination. I think that's it for the outsole. So next up is, alright, so the midsole. I am a big fan of this midsole. It is the star of the shoe. To be quite honest, with the issues on the upper and maybe my little concern on the outsole, when I'm on the run, I'm not paying attention to either one of those because I really like the underfoot feel of this midsole. So a lot of times when you have a shoe that has a nylon plate like this, what happens is you have a bottom layer of foam, and then they glue the plate, and then you have a top layer. This one, the nylon plate is embedded into the foam during the foaming supercriticaling process. I didn't say that completely correct, but it's a sandwich design, so it's all formed at one time instead of being glued on top of each other. So there is no glue within the foam and nylon plate. So it saves on weight. I think it gives a more organic feel underfoot, and it really works well. If I can find the video of that process, I'm not sure if I can find it because I think it's embedded in another video, but if I can find it, I will link it in the description. But Huey mentions it as well in his review, so if you want to go look at that, and it's actually based on a different shoe, but same process. Let's see. Again, it's supposed to be a 10 millimeter drop. I can't say that's right or wrong, but it definitely does not feel like an underfoot. It feels like a 6 to 8 millimeter. I would say maybe 7 to 8 feels about right. But it's a very fluid, and it's a nice and poppy, bouncy feel. Like it springs you along. The plate, to me, it doesn't over exaggerate. You don't necessarily feel the mechanical interplay in it, and maybe that's because of the foaming process. It seems to just all act as one, and it helps you move forward. This is a shoe that I believe gives you some assistance. My feet were not tired, my legs were not tired after the 15-mile run on this. It is a very good long run shoe. Honestly, I can't say quite enough about the underfoot feel. Like I was getting frustrated with this upper. several times, but then I would get out on the run, I just forget about the upper, because I was just enjoying the run. See if there's anything else. So yeah, it's a shoe you can change paces on. You can go easy pace, you can go up tempo. I think as I've noted in some of my other reviews on my long runs, I tend to just do varying paces. I will go very slow, I will go steady, I will do some up tempo, I will do some strides, I'll do some walking, like I'll do everything. This is a great shoe for that. It can handle everything. It may not be the best at any one thing, but it does a lot of things very well. So if you're looking for maybe a non-carbon plated daily trainer, or a trainer to mix in with your non-plated shoes, this is a good option for you to consider. The price is good, the underfoot feel is great, and maybe you have a little bit of a higher volume shoe, so it may not be as much of a problem for you as my lower volume foot. And even then, I really enjoyed running in the shoe. It's a very nice underfoot feel. It's not the most flexible shoe, so if you're looking for a very flexible shoe, this isn't it. It doesn't have a lot of give. Probably, again, back to that. So the plate, so I don't know if you can see, is sticking out both sides of the foam. So it's definitely stabilizing the whole shoe, but it's not like sometimes that carbon plate, you can just feel it directing everything. I did not feel that in here. So the flow of it, the mechanics of it, the efficiency of it is very good underfoot. I think that's about it on the midsole. If you didn't pick up on it, I really enjoyed the midsole. So next up, I'll get into the pricing, market, and so on the pricing. So again, it's getting very hard to judge pricing to the shoe, to ratings, and all of that. This is a definite value proposition when compared to the Western market. Now, is it a value proposition compared to the Chinese market? And I would say this might be on the higher end. There are other carbon plated shoes that are maybe a little lower, but I'm not going to take anything away from the shoe. And also keep in mind that when I bought this, it was a brand new release. So what I am seeing on AliExpress is it's just like anything else. Once it's brand new, it's got a higher market, higher price, and then it tends to lower down over time. So if that's the trend, then I probably bought it at its peak price, and over time it's going to come down. It's not like the Western market where you have a new version, and then maybe once it's out for a while, you may have a random sale, but then it goes up to the normal price, and then the next version comes out, and that old version you can get on discount. From what I'm seeing on AliExpress, it's more about you have a new release, a little bit higher price then, and then the market kind of settles down, and then it comes down over time as it's not a brand new release anymore. At least that's what I've seen so far, but I've only been doing this for a few months, so just take that for what it is. I'm still new to all this in reality. If this shoe were on the Western market, it would probably be competing with the Saucony Speed. It would probably be up in that 170 range. It's got everything that shoe does. It's not like this is the first shoe I've had problems with the upper on this. I've paid a lot of money for some other shoes with an upper kind of like this. Heck, the Skechers Tempo had that. It was much more unstretchable plastic that I actually had to heat up in my car and shove a sock in it just to stretch it out so that I wasn't blistering out my foot. So I'm trying to remember those things as I'm doing these reviews, because it's really easy to lose sight of the comparisons. This compared to some of the other Chinese, some of the other Chinese shoes have a little better uppers, but that doesn't change the fact that the shoe is still a great value proposition. I still have those problems on higher pricing shoes in the Western market. So just trying to keep all those things in mind. But this is definitely, again, so this is running at $100 or $102 right now on AliExpress. There's no way you're going to see a shoe like this on the Western market at that price. You're just not brand new. So it's still a great value proposition. And just a little bit sneak peek on the Pro. The Pro has a better upper on this, and they do have a better outsole on it. I'm still debating about the midsole because I really am a fan of this one. And I think they changed the drop in the Pro, have a little different foam. So I'm still figuring that out, but I'm early in the miles on that shoe. So it's interesting that I know they can give me a better upper because they did it on the Pro. So maybe there's hope on the next version of this. It's the final thoughts. So this is yet another shoe from the East that I am impressed with. I would not have any real issues recommending this to others to use. I just cite the same thing I've noted here. If you have a lower volume foot, you're probably going to have some problems in this area. It's just going to be a little messy overall. If you rub, you might have that issue here. But the midsole is fantastic. When you get it on foot, you're going to figure out the other problems, because this didn't cause any blistering. This wasn't poking me during the run. And the outsole rubbing is just a thing that it is. Other than that, the shoe did great, so it's another great value proposition. So 5 reviews in, I'm quite impressed with the Chinese shoes. I'm getting actually I have another shoe about ready for review that I'm going to video here soon. And then I'm getting some miles on some other shoes as well. So I'm kind of rotating 3 shoes right now, getting miles on them, so that because I have some carbon plated shoes within the mix, and I can't personally run a plated shoe every single day, so I'm having to mix in some other shoes, get miles on all of them, so it's taking a little longer to get a single shoe review out. So my apologies on that, but yeah, Qiaodan Wind 4. Again, I hope you enjoyed the review. I hope it gave you some information that you were unaware of. If you're trying to make a decision, hopefully it's helped you some on it. And if you get a chance, give me a like and subscribe. And I hope you enjoy your run. Cheers.